Have you ever listened to an artist with a very small amount of listeners and fallen in love with them? Not romantically. Knowing that this artist deserves to have so much more listeners than they do is sad, but also makes me proud. Knowing that not only am I supporting such a small artist, but that I'm one of the few people who is blessed by such wholly niche music. This is why people gatekeep, by the way, but I'm not gatekeeping. I'm showing this artist to the whole world, and here he is. Nick Nelward Elward, wow, that's fun to say, is such a hard to define artist. Somebody on TikTok has probably called them quirky core or some BS along those lines, and I can't even refute that statement, because Nelward makes music like I haven't really heard before. He combines bit pop, pop, and electronic to make something so him. Those genres don't really seem that interesting, but it's the sound he's able to produce from it that makes it unique. Here's an example from the track Battle Against the Nefarious M. Actually, okay, this song is actually a horrible example because the music I'm going to be talking about isn't 9 years old, and actually has lyrics. Here's a clip from his most popular song, Ghost. 'Cause I am just a dinosaur, alive inside a screen. He uses usually progressive and interesting music that makes him really charming. I'm gonna look through all of his compilation albums and EPs and his newest album to see what the best songs from Nelward are, and I'm gonna find out what he puts in his music to keep me coming back even years after first listening. Also, I'm not gonna talk about anything before Alive and Screen, so that's just where we'll start for now. Alive and Screen is a 2017 7-song EP from Nelward that focuses on a more bit-poppy sound. Apple Shampoo was one of the first songs I ever heard from the guy, and it's effective how catchy this song is. The instrumental is beyond charming, and even when I hadn't listened to it in years, I still find its melody playing in my head. Seafoam Breeze and The Minus World are both really good too, being rougher on the edges, but I'd almost say that either works in its favor or that it's completely intentional. These songs are the opposite of smooth, using rough bit noises to make pop songs that still manage to get trapped in your head for years. Strawman is a similar song in that vein, although I might call it a tad weaker. It has a really weird wonky instrumental that is groovy even though it's hard to groove to. It's a really great song and I love it to bits, pun intended. Surprisingly, my favorite song off this EP is probably Toy World. I usually don't like instrumental songs, but Toy World is seriously a masterpiece, creating nostalgia and sadness even though it sounds so happy. Even without lyrics, this is one of the most emotional songs from him I've heard, and I can never get enough of it. Toy World is just a perfect instrumental to close this EP. Alive and Screen is not just a good first project from Nelward, although it's technically not the first one, but whatever. It's also just a really good place to start listening to him. Even if you don't like the rough bits, you can see the smooth pop peeking through the cracks. The smooth pop that will define his later works, but until then, we'll move on to Nelward 1 is the first compilation of singles from him, containing songs released in 2019 and before. This album, yeah, I know it's not an album, it's a compilation, but that's a big word, so shut up. Starts with the previously mentioned Ghost. Ghost is one of the biggest Nelward hits, sitting at 14 million listens, which is really good. I'd say this breakout was deserving, as Ghost is such a beautiful track. I can listen to this song over and over, and the bridge will be as majestic every single time. I feel like it's also a good time to mention Nelward's odd lyricism, with Ghost having some weird lyrics that I couldn't imagine anybody else writing, especially with the previously mentioned bridge. But once again, this is incredibly charming. Another mild hit with 3 million listens is Sleepwalk. This is a really catchy song from Nelward, and while I think it's simple and doesn't have the same charm as some other tracks he's made, that doesn't take away from how enjoyable this one is. It's funktastic and I love it. Fashion is one of my favorite songs from Nelward, even in 2026. The progressiveness and emotion in his vocals is outstanding. The sound design and vocal chops are insane. I need to recommend this song to everybody watching this video. It still blows my mind even today. The lyrics on Fashion are pretty serious as well, holding a message about fascism and other political themes. He knocked this one out of the park. This album has Getting Better, which is another catchy emotional track with his quirky production, followed by If You Think of Me, which is a great pop song that gets stuck in my head all the time. If there's something to take away from Nelward 1, it's that he can make some hits. and has the ability to make the most infectious melodies I've ever heard.
And you never really left my mind.
Before continuing going down the Nelward compilation path, we first need to talk about two of his EPs, with the first being Eat Your Dreams. Eat Your Dreams embraces the pop sound we saw in Nelward 1, with it being a very progressive pop EP that holds a very special place in my heart, being one of my favorite things he's ever released to this day. The Werewolf is such an impactful pop song, using guitar and having Nelward raise his voice. I'm saying when Nelward uses his voice to emphasize emotion, those are the best tracks he's ever made. He has such a good voice, and I'm so happy to hear it get put to use. The title track is one of my favorite songs from him, having surprisingly good lyricism with an instrumental that is incredible, while also screaming that it was made by Nelward. Proclamation is a simple interlude type track, but the emotion makes it hold a very, very important place in my heart. Even if it is laced with sad memories, that only makes this short song more important. While Smash Through isn't one of my favorite Nelward tracks, I can say with confidence it might be one of the best. The feature does incredible vocals for the chorus, and her combining with Nelward makes a really sincere track that goes beyond a catchy pop song. And don't get me wrong, I do love this song so much, so don't think I'm insulting it or something. The EP ends with Normal, which is a pretty normal Nelward song, haha. And there's not much else to say besides that it's good. Eat Your Dreams shows Nelward embraces skill for making pop hits, and also has some focusing more on serious lyricism, creating a masterpiece of an EP that is eternally special for me. But does he keep that up in the next one?
Did you know my song is on Spotify right now to listen to? Or Apple Music as well? Stream my song! Or I'll kill you! I'll kill you!
Nights like these are far and wide. Images I left behind.
Okay, that last question wasn't fair, because I'm not sure this is actually its own EP. I'm starting to think that this is just bonus tracks from the last one, and if that's the case, I really shouldn't say that it's worse than Eat Your Dreams, because Lucid Scream isn't bad at all, it's just less interesting. Lydia is another incredible Nelward pop song. I got this song stuck in my head and spent almost 2 hours trying to find what it was. I was so surprised when it was Nelward, but looking back, I don't think anybody else I like could make a song that sounds like this. Through the Night is such a nostalgic song that also carries a lot of sadder memories for me. Even though it is tainted in my mind, I still know that this is such a good song, and I can't help but stay obsessed with it. The rest of the songs are basically instrumentals, and I don't really have much to say about it. This is a good EP, but it's definitely the worst so far in terms of content. But if these are bonus tracks, in which I'm starting to think they really are, I'm not complaining at all. I even wish some of the mentioned ones were on Eat Your Dreams itself. Okay, so according to Spotify, the next two should have actually been before the last two EPs, so, sorry. Nelward 2 is up there with one of my favorite Nelward albums, opening with another one of his most popular songs, Never Wanna Fall in Love with You, having 13 million streams. It's really clear why this song out of all of them is so popular. The bass is funktastic, and in general, it's simply a great pop song. The electric guitar really makes it come to life. He has such a knack for creating these melodies, it's so cool. Innuendo and Ooh Ah are really good songs. I really like the auto-tune effects on Innuendo, and paired with the instrumental, it makes an oddly captivating track. Ooh Ah uses his robot voice synth thing. Maybe it's a vocal effect, I don't know. This effect is used to make a really high energy track, especially for Nelward standards, who seems to keep it laid back most of the time. Let Me Out was one of my favorite songs for a while, being about the COVID pandemic and how it felt. The guitar in this is infectious, and the bridge is another one of his best. I love the vocals on that part, oh my gosh. Nelward has such a talent for making emotional vocal melodies, and that's probably why I fell in love with the music so much. Hopscotch is definitely a really good song, with strong lyrical content about nostalgia and the danger that comes with it. The whole ending section where he's yelling nostalgia is a crime and you never left my mind, like Proclamation? I'm not sure if they directly reference one another or if it's just missing a past partner from nostalgia or not a partner at all, but this shared lyric makes all of his music feel tied together and it's incredible. Oh my, oh me oh my, you could say. That sucks, I'm sorry. Oh Me Oh My is a quiet, relaxing song from Nelward. Once again, his vocals here carry it, making an emotional track that carries a lot of memories for me. I love the energy picking up at the end, it's really interesting. Nelward 2 is probably one of the most consistent projects from him so far, but how will the next 3 installments hold up compared to this? I'm going to say I think Nelward 3 simply needs a re-listen from me, because at the moment it's my least liked album from Nelward so far. Which is weird because this is a natural evolution for him, and listening to some of these now, I just think my music taste expanded since this came out. The problem for me was these songs just simply weren't as interesting as his other works in my opinion. I do agree with my past self somewhat, I still dislike songs like Tube and Nothing Funny, but the rest is okay at worst. Cosmic Relief is a hit from this album, and it deserves it. It's really good and the chorus is incredibly catchy. High School is another highlight, the chords are really satisfying. The string hits really bring it all together on top of the interesting lyrics and vocals. The chorus here is also really impactful. There's just a charm to these songs and the way he sings them that hits me in the heart and I don't know how to describe it. Who's Gonna Call Your Name is probably one of the most directly sad or emotional songs he's released in my opinion. His yelling on here makes it so much more devastating and I can't listen to it honestly. Both because it just makes me sad and because I relate this to sad memories of mine. This shows how good and impactful the song is though. Good job, Nelward. While this is one of my least favorite Nelward albums so far, I'm not saying it's bad at all. In fact, my favorite Nelward song ever is on here, with it being The Sum of All of Our Sirens. This song is a build-up song that's incredibly catchy and progressive. The progressiveness of his music has always been the hook for me, and I think it's perfected here. Starting with an already catchy island-themed song before transitioning to a quieter, sadder section that builds into him screaming, "I don't deserve to feel it, I don't deserve to fear it," which is incredibly impactful, especially with his distorted vocal melodies after this part. The song then decays into ambient scary noises for 2 minutes straight before ending. It's a masterpiece and I'm begging you to check it out. Nelward 3 is still a good album, but just my least favorite for the time being. I'll re-listen to some of these songs and I'm sure they'll grow on me, but the rest are either good or unenjoyable. Nelward 4 immediately ups the quality, with almost every song on here being really good. It opens with Sad Boy, which is the now rare rough Nelward song. The guitar is screeching at you and the lyrics are bizarre and weird, yet it remains the Nelward quality of still being incredibly catchy. I really like these types of songs from him, and I'm happy to see they haven't met extinction just yet. The Runaround is genetically modified to be a hit song. It is incredibly catchy and Nelward at his best. While it hasn't taken off like the others, I know this is a spiritual successor to tracks like Ghost, or maybe I'm just tweaking. This song is great though. Trippin' on a Hole in the Sky and You Can Be My Lover are more minimalistic songs, with the first being catchy and unique, even when it doesn't really go anywhere. The second is classic Nelward, having 2 minutes of build-up before the real hook kicks in, and wow, it's worth it. I love this song so much. It's really infectious. No matter how many times I use that word in this video. The album ends with Buttercup, which is a simpler pop song that does its job well enough. Nelward 4 is incredibly consistent, and while it does have some lows and is much shorter than the last, it's still really great. It's probably in the middle of everything, but not having low lows and the highs aren't really the highest either. It's good, but it's not the best. I really hate to say it, but Nelward 5 is by far my least favorite Nelward compilation. The songs on here just aren't interesting to me at all, even if they're still good. The singles Easy Does It and Gut Stuff are the highlights. I think the funkier otter sound he was going for on these really helped them stay unique and interesting. This album does feel like it's missing the vocals I've praised so much. also losing much of the progressiveness that made him so enjoyable for me. I wouldn't even call this album progressive pop, and I'm hoping this was just a change he wanted to make, not something he's going to be doing forever. I respect a change in sound, even if it's subtle, but it feels like he just made himself more bland on here. Songs like Drugs and Monkey Moose being fine, just not something I'd ever listen to on my own. Nelward 5 was the last Nelward compilation, so now it's time for a real deal, even if we did end on kind of sour terms.
I can't be wrong, don't even bother. You don't want that pie in your face. No one is all.
Stone Bogus is finally Nelward's first official album, but I'm actually writing this on the 9th of June, so give me a second to wait for the album to come out. Well, Stone Bogus came out today of writing this, and wow, this is completely different. While the rest of Nelward's music has been progressive pop or something like that, this album uses a more hardcore synth experimental sound, being strange and having a lot of dirt. I only really listened to I Can't Be Wrong before the album came out, with it being the obvious single, just from the way it sounds like a classic Nelward song with the formula reformed. I'd say all the singles are some of the best tracks, including I Can't Be Wrong, Cherry Angioma, and Gus. These songs are all really good, and I'll definitely be coming back to listen. While this isn't a progressive pop album, it still holds some of the features that used to be relevant in its old stuff, like the rough sounds with change-ups into heavenly emotional segments. Listening to Gus and knowing Nelward had me thinking we would hear the best bridge ever. I think I was on the second chorus thinking, I already know the bridge is gonna make this song, and I was pretty much right. The self-titled intro is really good and works as an amazing intro to the sound. Polite Pilot is also a generally solid track that I'll be coming back to. Sidewinder is a really good closer, being the longest song in the album. The piano stuff on here is really nice and makes for an emotional send-off to the album. While these songs range from good to great, there are a few songs that I don't really like. Those being the Live Laugh Loners Anthem and Jaundice. These songs are okay, but I really dislike some of the vocal stuff on them. I can't blame Nelward for that though. I literally have a disorder that makes stuff worse for me, so no hard feelings. This is a great debut album from Nelward, and I'm surprised how long it took to get here. I appreciate this album having its own little sound bubble that doesn't really follow his singles. There's more work put into these songs to show how cohesive the album is. I just really hope we can get another album in the future from him. Nelward has been one of my favorite artists since I started listening to music, and is one of the most interesting artists I know. He makes music that is progressive and caters directly to my taste because of that. I highly recommend checking Nelward out and streaming Stone Bogus. While the quality of the compilations seemed to dip over time in my opinion, Nelward showed that he can still make some incredible songs on his new album. I just hope this means he won't trip up and release more Monkey Moose. Thank you for watching this video and subscribe, please.